It was 1800, and conspiracy theories were flourishing across America. Partisan newspapers spread tales of European elites seeking to seize control of the young democracy. Preachers in New England warned of plots to abolish Christianity in favor of godlessness and depravity. This boogeyman of the early republic was the Illuminati, a secret organization founded in Germany dedicated to free thinking and opposed to religious dogma. Despite the Illuminati's lack of real influence in America, conspiracy theorists imagined the group's fingerprints were everywhere. They said Illuminati manipulation had caused France's reign of terror, the wave of executions and persecutions that followed the French Revolution. They feared something similar in America. From the witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts, to fears of the Illuminati, from the Red Scare to the John Birch Society to QAnon, conspiracy theories have served as dark counter-programming to the American story taught in history books.
Hi, this is Barack Obama without my teleprompter.
Like a demonic elf. Hey, Bill Gates!
The most proof I've ever seen that the Illuminati actually exist.
Is it me or did Bianca just turn into a demon mid-show?
Yeah, one of them tried to mold me into a big triangle shape.
You're in a death battle, New World Order. We know.
Everything they teach you in school is a lie. You want the truth? The world is controlled by shadowy elites and shape-shifting lizard people.
Conspiracy theories, and specifically the belief in an Illuminati, are as American as apple pie with their prevalence all throughout US history. And even though time and time again the existence of this secretive satanic cabal has been disproven, the people who continue to uphold such narratives are actually not completely wrong. America, and the world in general, is actually influenced by something incredibly powerful. It's just that this thing isn't secretive at all, and is actually so influential and in your face that you probably don't even realize it. In this video, I want to explain why America is so obsessed with the Illuminati, and towards the end, uncover the real force that runs your life and the world. The belief in an Illuminati, or the act of selling your soul to achieve fame and wealth, is a unique staple in American culture. Because the early American colonies were largely founded on puritanical values, there is this rich history of religious self-righteous hysteria. This conspiratory belief has grown over time, beginning with governments and monarchs, and later celebrities and musicians. We are consistently told by self-appointed whistleblowers that the Illuminati subliminally influences the media and music we consume, from Michael Jackson and Beyonce to Sam Smith and Doja Cat. The end goal of this type of campaign would be to lead the public astray towards dark and demonic forces. In other words, to the Christians, the Illuminati is basically a group that helps aid in the agenda of the Antichrist or even Satan himself. Like described in the book of Revelation and the verses that detail the end of days, there will come a time when the pure Christian world has become corrupted and deceived. And to the Christian, the modern celebrity is a perfect example of that. Now, what's most interesting to me about this entire thing is that while today our perception of the Illuminati is so shrouded in mystery and even paranormal narratives like magical contracts or sacrificial rituals, in reality, the Illuminati was an actual documented historical thing. The concept of the Illuminati as we've come to know it today is generally believed to refer back to the Bavarian Illuminati, which was a Republican freethinker movement founded on May Day 1776 in Germany. Their founders' aim was to replace Christianity with the religion of reason, as was later done with the revolutionaries in France. The term Illuminati itself literally means to be enlightened or illuminated to some greater knowledge or wisdom. This group was founded during the Age of Enlightenment, a period in history that rejected the religious superstitious norm and favored logic and reason. However, because 18th century European society was still largely dominated by religion and superstition, certain anti-religious establishment ideas had to be hidden to avoid public shaming, and this is the reason the Illuminati was so secretive. So this concept of the Illuminati that people use today to describe some shadowy satanic society actually refers to a society that upheld rationality and reason in the face of overwhelming religious paranoia and superstition. The beliefs of the Illuminati were more akin to deism or agnosticism, and not centered around the belief in deity worship, let alone the existence of a devil or Satan. Obviously, once the Christians found out about this so-called rationality, in the idea of replacing Christian society with a logic-based one, they immediately assumed it was some sort of satanic plot to overtake the world and destroy the order that they had spent millennia building. This paranoia about evil, secretive powers plotting to overtake the Christian world is actually not something that is a unique response to specific social movements, but a mindset that is fundamental to Christianity itself. The Abrahamic faiths in general are essentially apocalyptic religions that center around the end times and how to prepare so you will be safe and spared, like the second coming of Christ and the rapture. This apocalyptic narrative of eventual Christian demise and the triumph of evil, as well as an early history of actual Christian subjugation at the hands of the Romans, tends to lead Christians to develop a victim complex, believing that they are under constant attack and that the end days are just around the corner. Now, as I said briefly earlier, much of America's conspiratory paranoia can also be traced back to its puritanical origins. So just as the pendulum in Europe began to swing more towards rationality and reason, religious minorities in New England began establishing Protestant colonies, laying the Christian foundation that the future country called the United States would be built. The New England colonists were known as the Puritans because they firmly believed their version of Protestantism was purifying the corrupted English church. Because of this sense of spiritual superiority, the Puritans believed that their society would flourish and set the standard for Christians around the world. This decentralized radical religious movement allowed for paranoia to flourish. The Salem witch trials of 1692, for example, were a series of executions following accusations made by teenage girls, which led to the death of 25 innocent people in the colony of Massachusetts.
I want names of others.
I know of no others.
Again.
These executions were done with absolutely no proof whatsoever except the word of the accusers. The Salem witch trials are often used as an example of the dangers of unchecked religious extremism and how ideology can lead people to excuse and even commit atrocities. I'm sure most Americans today would agree that those people were insane, but you'd be mistaken to think that we've fully moved on from that mindset. As the colonies grew and gained independence from Britain, these religious mindsets largely stagnated relative to the quickly shifting attitudes away from institutionalized religion and superstition happening in Europe. Throughout American history, you can find several instances of religious hysteria and even panic in response to rapid social and political change. From Southern slave owners claiming abolition and race mixing went against scripture, to the belief that Satan was leading women astray and causing them to want more rights in the early 20th century, to rock and roll being the devil's music in the 50s, to the satanic panic in the 80s and 90s, and all the way up to what I like to call the transgender panic of the 2020s. These religious hysterical movements make a lot more sense when understanding America's puritanical roots and its deep history entrenched in illogical religious paranoia. Now, to me, a perfect modern example of this lingering puritanical paranoia would be Doja Cat, and I guess just the perception of the entertainment industry in general. So while Doja's career appeared to inevitably push her towards untouchable icon status, things began to take a turn south when, in March of 2022, she decided to cancel her upcoming performance in Paraguay and didn't greet fans that waited in the rain for hours. This led to a barrage of disappointed and angry tweets directed at her, leading to Doja claiming that she was quitting music altogether and that the industry just wasn't for her. Since then, she has gotten into countless other arguments with fans online and has progressively shown more and more resentment towards the people that claim to be her fans.
I used to like your music, but you treat your fans like shit. Dude, literally suck my cock.
After she shaved her head, got certain tattoos, and started to do more horror-inspired shitposts, people went from just disappointment and confusion to judgment and accusations that she was satanic or in the Illuminati. I just want to say, most human beings are not built for the extraordinary pressures and environment that is being a famous celebrity. You are expected to be superhuman, perform consistently like a circus animal, maintain a flawless image, never complain, and treat your fans and spectators with unconditional love and understanding. Once a crack forms in this delicate facade, and the celebrity shows any sign of human emotions like anger or negativity, people will then flock and dissect them until the celebrity becomes resentful of their fame and of the millions of people that consistently cast judgment as if they themselves were infallible.
At this point, with all of the popularity you said earlier, I think I'm too fucking famous.
Yeah. All of those things seem so positive. You don't think about what comes with it.
Right.
And so I jumped in. I didn't really know what I was putting myself up against. And then I realized, okay, well, this is kind of a lot. And so now I'm stepping fucking back.
I think Doja was pushed to this point of feeling like her image had become irreparably tarnished. So she threw her hands up and said, I'm going to reclaim this demonic Illuminati image and taunt these people. It's kind of like one of the only ways for her to protest and gain control in a hopeless situation like that. Also, just in general, in the West, anti-religious imagery or style is inherently seen as the go-to symbol of rebellion, and that is clearly what Doja is doing against celebrity culture and fame. It's very obvious that a lot of her posts are satire, and also that her style is more about vanity and not representative of a literal belief, which leads me to this next point. When you live in a largely self-righteous Christian society, one of the easiest ways to get attention, and therefore profit, is to use demonic or anti-Christian symbolism. You can then ignite false outrage, all while making your name more known and increasing profit. This is why this edgy demonic style has become so common in recent years. We live in the attention economy, and with the normalization of people like Lady Gaga and Nicki Minaj in the early 2010s, the ways to get people talking are becoming less and less. One of the most tried and true methods, however, is and has always been satanic imagery. People who fall for this and believe in the Illuminati tend to notice how our world is unjust and corrupted, but they naively blame it on the devil or a shadowy group because the truth is much worse and something that they also partake in. The devil does not control the world, but neolib capitalism and the ruthless pursuit of profit does. You don't need to invent some evil scapegoat because the real enemy operates in broad daylight and is something that we are all a part of. Ronald Reagan's trickle-down economics have truly decimated the middle class, and you can see that so many of our problems today lead back to that, from healthcare to school costs to economic inequality. This form of corporate socialism has consolidated wealth and power in a way that some ancient secret society could only dream of. There are no secretive magical ceremonies or blood-drinking rituals because none of those are needed in the modern world for real power or influence. All you need is to be a corporation or have incredible wealth, and you can then lobby governments to pass laws in your favor, not pay taxes, and get special treatment. But this explanation is too real and complex, so it isn't as fun as just saying it's the devil and that only you have the real truth. But it is amazing to comprehend how conditioned people can be to not see this, but to know there is something wrong in the world, but to instead make up some elusive enemy to blame it on instead of what's right in front of them. I think the irony of all of this is so palpable it's almost poetic. Self-righteous Christians cast stones and all throughout history blame others for the problems and inequalities in the world, when in reality, the for-profit society that they support, helped create, and view as just is the very society that created the problems that they view as evil in the first place. Modern celebrities wouldn't be doing everything in their power to shock and offend if it didn't sell so well. Above all, human beings love to believe in simple, centralized answers to incredibly complex, multifaceted issues. We subconsciously long to believe that someone is always in control, even if it's not our own government, but that just is not the case.
The conspiracy theory about a shadowy group of people in the world is far too lazy of an explanation. Especially when the truth is much scarier.
What is the truth?
No one is in control.
The world is so incredibly complex that no single person, entity, or secret society controls it. The only thing that we have that comes close to such a concept is the pursuit of profit and greed. And while the Bible does say money is the root of all evil, most people on earth chase it. So who are you to point fingers and blame some Illuminati as if you yourself aren't driven by the same exact philosophy?